Hello students. Today we're going to work on our Module 4, Lesson 5, Problem Set. Okay, so with the earlier video that I made, we had talked about the degrees in a circle, okay? And we had talked about the benchmark angles that we were discussing when we cut our circular protractor into 4 pieces. And so as you can see, they started this. It says make a list of the benchmark angles you drew. Starting with set A, round each angle, measure to the nearest 5 degrees. Both sets have been started. So basically they want you to see what is the pattern that they're adding by. Okay, and if we look, they start with 45 degrees. So 45 is the number that you need to add. So 45 plus 45 equals 90. So the next one would be 90 plus 45. Okay, so if we weren't sure, we could just say, well, what's 90 plus 45? That's 135 degrees. So I would list 135 degrees right there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing until I reach 360 degrees, completing my circle. So I would say, okay, what's 135 plus 45? Okay, 5 and 5 is 10. Bundle my 1. That's 7 plus 1 more is 8. So I am now halfway. I'm at 180 degrees. Okay, so you are going to continue adding, filling in these blank numbers here until you reach 360 degrees. Okay. You're going to do the same thing on the next one. So now we have 30. So 30 plus 30 is 60. So our next number would be 60 plus 30. Okay, so 60 plus 30 equals 90. So my next number right here would be 90. Okay, and then I'm going to continue to add 30 every single time. Okay, so again, 90 plus 30. 0, 9 plus 3 is 12, so I'm at 120 degrees. Okay, again, I'm going to add 30. That's 0, that's 5, so I'm at 150 degrees. Okay, again, I'm going to add 30. I'm going to keep adding 30 until I get to my full circle of 360 degrees. So 0 plus 0, 5 plus 3 is 8, and 1. So I'm halfway there. So I got you halfway. I want you to go the rest of the way. So continue to add 30 to every number and then list it right here until you finish and you get your full circle at 360 degrees. Okay. The next thing that you're going to do, it says circle any angle measures that appear on both lists. So already we can kind of look up here and see, are there any numbers that, because I didn't finish my lists, which is yikes. So you guys are going to want to finish your lists and then compare, but we have a few numbers. So let's see, do both of these lists have 45 on them? 45, 30, nope. 60, nope. 90, 90, oh, they both have 90, so I'm going to circle 90. Okay. I have 120, 135. They both have 180. Okay, they both have 180. I wonder what other numbers they're going to have in common. So I want you, once you have finished your list, I want you to figure out what other number do they have in common. Okay, and then what do you notice about those numbers that we circled? Oh, I already see one that they have in common that I already put on there. So I'm going to give you a hint. There is one more number that both of these lists are going to have in common, and it's something very specific that has to do with our other video that I posted on before. So I want you to figure out what that was, okay? List the angle measures from problem 1 that are cute little baby angles. Trace each angle with your finger as you say it, so we can cross that off because you don't have your circular protractor, so you're not going to be able to do that. So we'll just cross that part off. But list all of the cute little baby angles. How do we know they're cute? they're less than 90 degrees. Okay, so that should be pretty easy to do. If I look up here on both lists, I only see 3 numbers that are less than 90 degrees. I see 30 degrees, I see 45 degrees, and I see 60 degrees. Okay, and then it says list the angle measures. Oops, sorry, let me maybe zoom on that. Right. List the angle measures from problem 1 that are obtuse. And then again, we can cross that off. All right, so acute are less than 90, but obtuse are all more than 90 degrees. So already we have quite a few numbers that we could list here. And again, if they share the number, we don't have to list it twice. So I can start my list with 120 degrees. 135 degrees, 150 degrees, and 180 degrees. However, because these lists are incomplete and you have to do the work up here, you're also going to have to finish the work down here for this list. So whatever other numbers you fill in, you're going to want to put them down here along with 360 degrees. Okay? All right, on the next page. And we didn't really talk about this one, right? So we just talked about that there are 360 degrees in this full circular triangle. So if we were to start out, and this circular triangle doesn't happen to have the little itty bitty tiny tick marks like our other protractor has, but if I were to line this up on here, you would be able to see, of course I have to get it on there accurately, you would be able to see the little tiny tick marks, okay? So this one just says, ooh, there's 10, right? But if we go all the way out to the edge out here, we have these little tiny tick marks. And so they start, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this big mark, even though it says 170, it's actually 10 as well. This inside one marks 10, okay? So if this is 1 right here, 1 out of all of this, that's why it makes it 1 out of 360 degrees, okay? So 2 degrees, a 2-degree angle, which is, again, is very tiny. 1 degree is very tiny. 2 degrees is 2 out of 360 degrees. What fraction of a whole turn is each of the benchmark angles you listed in problem 1? So we did not list all of the benchmark angles, but if I turn back to problem 1 really quickly, I notice that I have some benchmark angles. So I'm just going to start with set A, and I'm going to start with 45 and 90. Okay, so 45 degrees would be 45 out of, what is our whole circle made out of? 360 degrees. Okay, so they just want you to turn those numbers. The next one, remember, was 90. So 90 out of 360 degrees. They just want you to turn those benchmark angles into fractions, and the total is how many degrees are in a circle, which is 360 degrees. Okay, on this one, we have to think back to our beginning lesson. So what did it take to get, how many turns did it take us to do, how many 45-degree angle turns does it take to make a full turn? So remember, here is our 90-degree angle right here, right? Half of 90 is 45. So here is 45 degrees right here. This one right here, okay? Because 2 of them together makes 90, okay? So if I had 1 right here, that means every single one of these would be 45. How many of those do you see on here? How many of them do you see on this circle that I drew for you? Okay, you should have answered 8. Okay, it takes 8 45-degree angles to create a full turn. A full turn means all the way around, okay? How many 30-degree angles does it take to make a full turn? So really on this one, you're going to have this one, you can kind of, both of these, you could actually look back on your other page, okay? Because this one, if you're counting by 45s, you should end up with 8 numbers here, okay? So on this one, I want you to count how many numbers did you end up writing down because you're counting by 30s, okay? So figure out how many 30-degree angles it takes to make a full turn, okay? It says, if you don't have a protractor, how could you reconstruct a quarter of it from 0 to 90 degrees? Okay, if you didn't have a protractor, how could you construct? And you know, I don't really think that we're going to need to do this one, so I'm just going to cross it off. I know you guys always find a lot of enjoyment with crossing them off. Okay. So make sure that you get on to Go Formative. Make sure you complete the Zern lesson for today. So you should be through lesson 5, all ready to go for lesson 6 on Monday, which is how to measure an angle. And you're going to have a special guest teacher teaching you that. It is another 4th grade teacher, but we decided to take turns making the videos. So I hope you enjoy and have a great weekend.